Welcome back to the reading of Always the Horizon by Murdoch, audiobook by Livid Productions. Chapter 4, Aphrodite and the Lagoon of Nymphs. What? I shout to the weeping nymph. She, like all the nymphs and fairies in the lagoon, was in a state of mourning. The nymph, broken and dispirited, looks back up to me and with little voice says,
"It's true. Our queen, Aphrodite, has been kidnapped by the Semites and their underlings. It is said they keep her prisoner in 2 towers, but they change where she's forced to sleep once every other night so as to hide her location from would-be heroes."
I reveal my dagger and say, "We are would-be heroes, and we are enemies of the Semite. It is your queen, nymph, who holds a key to the revitalization of my people. My companion and I shall go to those towers and free her." In an instant her face turns from sorrow to joy. We're smothered in kisses of fairies and nymphs. Our wounds are no more. It is sublime healing. Know this, writer. It is good that these National Socialists, fascists, and third positionists are so keen on the role of motherhood. It is certainly best that society yearns for virgin brides and busy mothers. However, there is a weapon that has been removed from their arsenal. This sexual element that is so necessary to heal and compel men shall today be reclaimed. Surely you know the power of the muse. She is the companion of the artist, and without the artist, we cannot win the hearts of the people. Let these moralists gnash their teeth, for we, the romantics, will give rebirth to her. That sweet name, her divine figure, her healing touch, her mystical sexual energy. We finally make our way to the courtyard of the first tower. This place is covered in fragments of Parisian marble, half-smashed statues of the female form. Look, writer, these sculptures were taken from the Lagoon of Nymphs. There must be over 1,000 here that lie in ruin. Suddenly we spot a young man, not over 20, wielding a 2-handed hammer. He is clothed in ascetic Semitic Aryan attire. He is blindfolded and aimlessly moves about. Without warning, he lifts the great hammer and brings it down on a statue, shattering it on impact. My eyes widen, and I suck air through my teeth as I let out, "Boy, what are you doing?" He pauses as he speaks. "Well, hello there, good sir. I'm working on ensuring my immortality." Confused, I ask, "Immortality?" He smiles and begins, "Yes, sir. I'm fighting against sin. I am in the business of slaying wicked serpents that act as temptation, for I'd much prefer immortality of pleasure than an immortality of pain." I pick up a piece of the marble debris and remark, "Who has told you such nonsense? Boy, take off your blindfold and analyze your actions." He jumps and states, "Oh, but sir, I can't, for I must have faith. Were I to doubt and remove the blindfold, then surely the demiurge, our Lord Divine, would smite me." Flustered, I let out, "Why would he smite you?" He gives no pause, and with a great smile says, "Oh, because he loves me." I halt for a moment as I process his statement, then remark, "Because he loves you? Boy, you do not smash serpents and sin here in this courtyard. Rather, you have destroyed countless works of art that are a representation of the female ideal. What you wish to destroy and call temptation, I wish to preserve and call a work of beauty." He lingers in silence as he grimaces in concern. His hand touches the blindfold and he remarks, "I'm sorry, sir, but I've been told by a very knowledgeable priest that upon my viewing of the wickedness of the female form, I will get..." He pauses for a moment, then lets out, "urges in my nether regions." I remark without hesitation, "Your nether regions?" He shifts his head to the side and states, "You know, your old cock and balls." I hold back my laughter and speak. You're cock and balls. Boy, do you not know that nature saw fit to give you such urges, so that you can go about cultivating the tree of life? Her divine form is not one of sin, but one of sheer grace. Now remove that blindfold and look upon your works. With a continued look of gloom, he remarks, But I can't, sir, for I fear that my loving God will smite me, that he will torment me endlessly for finding pleasure in such things. And if I should remove this blindfold and give up my faith, I would be forced to burn for an eternity in a lake of fire. The boy brings his hammer up once again, but before it can be brought back down, I seize it with zeal and state, Then it doesn't sound like your God is very loving at all. However, there is a love goddess who has been kidnapped by your associates. I must have her to give life back to my people, for I need Aphrodite to assist me in my scheme of things. The ascetic Semitic Aryans and their priests have long mutilated our world. Even here, in this courtyard, their machinations bring ruin. I call you a sinner, boy. I call you a heretic. For it is you who wage war against the beautiful, so that you can attain an immortality of endorphins. It is you who are the serpent. Now remove your blindfold. He stands in shock and whimpers out, I can't. I begin with, Is it not said in Matthew 5:29, And if thy right eye offend thee, pluck it out? Here, boy, I will give you my dagger, so that you may cut off your cock and balls. Surely, then you will not have to fear the retaliation of your loving God. He whispers, My cock and balls? I remark, Yes, for surely a lifetime without your nether regions is worth an immortality of endorphins. Is it not said that your loving God forgives all things? Then take off the blindfold, just this once, and see the world from my position. If you see serpents here, in this courtyard, then by all means put the blindfold back on. However, if you see beauty, then let your eyes be free of it for the rest of your life. He pauses and slowly removes the blindfold. Suddenly, we see blue eyes. His face changes from fear to sadness as he remarks, This is what I've labored so hard to do, to destroy such pretty things. He falls to his knees and begins to weep. I move to meet him and say, Boy, know this, for all men are forgiven when they resolve to remove blindfolds and chase the sun. He forgoes weeping as we embrace. No longer an ascetic Semitic Aryan. Now he was only Aryan. I speak once more. Know this, I am the sacred clown, and I command you to return these statues to the Lagoon of Nymphs. Now tell me, where is Aphrodite? He whimpers out. Yes, of course. Thank you, sacred clown. But I'm sorry. The queen is in the other tower. There with the Semitic hobgoblin, the pornographer. My eyes squint and I gnash my teeth. I tighten my grip on the dagger. Come along, rider, for we must be swift. Every moment that we linger here is a moment the Queen of Nymphs is defiled. We arrive in short order at the second tower, the lair of the Semitic hobgoblin, the pornographer. This place is full of cages and melancholy. The creature sits on a pile of chicken bones, its disgusting habits on full display. Its head dwarfs the rest of the body, and is set with beady eyes and a nose like a hook. Belching and wheezing, it eats away. Though the top of its head is mostly bald, the rest is littered with oily hair running long on each side. It dons a little hat on its head, but rest assured, it is an atheistic Semitic monster. It has no concept of divinity. It exists to bring about the unknowing, for reasons I cannot understand. There it lies, devouring its chickens on golden plates, with golden forks on a golden table. Its limbs, thin and rarely used, lie shriveled on its fat body. Upon seeing our arrival, he stops eating and at once greets us.
Welcome, welcome. I see you're here to shop my wares. What pleasure do you seek, my hedonist fellows? For here at this tower, we offer all types of sensual delights.
It clasps its hands, and suddenly, a cage with a nymph drops from the tower. It begins again.
Perhaps you're here to whip one of these things, to wreck her body, to aid in the defilement of her form. Do you wish to see her lie with animals today? For surely that is the greatest defilement. Is it not also true that the greatest defilement leads to the greatest orgasm?
It laughs and wheezes. There is silence. Its smile fades for a moment as it looks us over. It pauses with a worried expression. Then the smile returns as it speaks.
I see. You're here for the true defilement. You seek the reduction in capacity, the blinding. You wish to see her lie with the sub-man, as to create sub-humanity. You, sir, are a true connoisseur of defilement.
We say nothing. Its eyebrows raise, and the worried look returns. There's a long pause. Suddenly, it begins to laugh and wheeze. It slaps its leg and begins rummaging through its collection. Finally, it lets out,
Of course, you seek out for more defilement. I have many wares. Here, look. These two are brother and sister. It is their copulation that brings the greatest orgasm, surely. Yes, it is their fusion and the breakdown of the tree of life that is so sensual, so erotic. Do you wish to see her eat excrement? Bile? There's no limit to the defilement we can bring to her.
Still we say nothing, for I have told you, and will tell you again, Ryder, you must never speak to the Semitic hobgoblins. For long in our history, our men would seek logic and reason from them. They would engage in long, drawn-out dialogue that would never be fruitful, for they believed that creatures such as these desired truth, and that somehow truth would find its way, if only we could understand one another. Know this, Ryder, there can be no understanding with the Semitic hobgoblin. Let it be said that there have always been prostitutes, street urchins, and courtesans. They are as old as our being, older than civilization. They serve a function which we have forgotten. The ascetic has been taught to hate her, and the hedonist has been taught to debase her. I believe there must be a way to revive the temple prostitute, to give rise to a courtesan who exists to raise the spirits of men, so that all men can embrace beauty in their lifetimes. That these nymphs will be trained in the art of healing, for she, the courtesan, is the natural cleric and ally of men. This is something that has been forgotten for 2,000 years in our realm. It is with the love of Aphrodite that we will resurrect it. But this creature, the Semitic pornographer, brings about an outright mockery of such things. This hobgoblin exists simply to mar beauty, to negate vitality. Only once this creature, this pornographer, is cut down will we remember the other half of woman. She is both mother and sex goddess. Only then will we have balance. The creature's lips tighten and curl inwards, and wrinkles form on its brow. It finally lets out,
Why have you come here to say nothing? Are you not here to engage in the defilement?
Suddenly a gust of wind brushes my crimson cloak aside, revealing my hand on my dagger. Its mouth falls open, and it cries out in fear.
I see. You are ascetic Semitic Aryans, and you've come to punish me for my wares. Yes, now I see the error in my way. Now I've decided to become an ascetic Semitic Aryan. I now wield the cross. I have been saved, yes, for forgiveness surely is the greatest element about my newfound religion. Come, let us rejoice that I have been saved. I am Converso.
Our blades slowly unsheathe. The sound of metal unleashed saturates the area. The Semitic hobgoblin's eyes begin to widen, and sweat pours down its face. It shakes ever more wildly, for this creature has no instinct in the art of combat. He's lived 2,000 years as a parasite, never defending his home with the spear, but only with the coin. What kind of soldier does that breed? What does he know of warfare? The creature desperately cries out.
Put away weapons, brothers, for we are all children of God. For we are all ascetic Semitic Aryans. Converso. Now let us forgive.
Finally, I speak out to the monstrosity. We are not ascetic Semitic Aryans. We have come not to forgive, but for retribution. In an instant, we launch ourselves at this monster, the pornographer, our guile and cunning carrying our blades forward, ever to their target. Remember this, rider. The first strike is the most important, for if it is executed with sufficient will and precision, it can fell even a titan in a single blow. We move faster than sound, but I see the full change in the Semitic hobgoblin's eyes, for when I first leapt, its face was of fear. But in the end, I think it was more of surprise, that it could not believe that there now existed men who could not forgive, that these new men, who now walk the earth, would forever seek its total annihilation. Finally, our daggers reached their target. 14 times I stab it in its belly. 88 times I stab it in the back. I cannot help but wonder, is this the first time you've been in this position, Hobgoblin? Is this the first time you've felt the dagger in your back? I shall name this strike Toledo, and this strike Dresden. With each cut, hot black tar and pulsating, organ-like coins spew out onto the ground. The creature writhes in pain, squealing like some demonic pig. The Semitic hobgoblin does not abstain from eating pork because of cleanliness. No. He abstains because it is an act of cannibalism. He is the king of pigs. He reveres filth. Verily, I do not do justice to pigs, for pigs have their place, but hobgoblins, they shall have no place. The nymphs are made free as the creature gives out its final whimper. We search the courtyard and throughout the tower, yet still there is no trace of Aphrodite. Suddenly, my heart sinks at the thought that she has been completely blighted, that somehow, between the ascetic and the hedonist tower, she had been lost, both forgotten and defiled. Rider, without her love, can we guide the nymphs? Will the artists have a muse to stir their souls? We must now return with empty hands. We will tell them of our shared misfortune. Surely we will all weep together at the death of love. On our way back, we encounter once more the young man from before, carrying a statue named Hypatia. We greet him as we make our way down into the entrance of Aphrodite's old home, the Lagoon of Nymphs and Fairies. We wear melancholy on our faces like a mourning veil as we drift into her domain. As her creatures ever gather around us, I speak out to them. I am sorry, my beloved fairies and nymphs. Your queen is no more. The light of beauty and the feminine ideal has been lost. I begin to weep. A nymph embraces me with warmth and says,
You silly mortal. Do you not realize that you have freed our queen? That you carried her back with you in your hearts from those dreaded towers? Do you not realize that the feminine ideal can never die, As long as you men desire it. As long as you are willing to cut down men and monsters for it. Now quit your weeping and look up high above this place, for she is with us now, even as we speak.
I look up, and I hear a word on a wing. There she floats, perched above, bathing in the light of the sun, in all her glory. Her red hair, ivory skin, and smile that can heal even poisoned wounds, gleaming like a beacon of vitality. She is Venus, Priya, Freya, the inner mode of being's feminine ideal. Her nude form covered by a diaphanous dress of white flowers. Suddenly, I am lifted into the air by the tiny hands of 1,000 fairies. Slowly they fly me upwards towards this symbol of the ideal, this keeper of the muse. For here, in this garden of love, we are reborn. We have cast off these extremes that the Semite so readily abuses us with. All at once there is balance. The fairies bring me ever closer to her. As we finally embrace, I whisper, "Sweet name, you are born once again for me." We kiss. Now, writer, I do not know if I believe in Nietzsche's eternal recurrence, that we live these lives over and over, an endless dream we experience in a loop. Perhaps it would be best if it is true what the school of Parmenides would say, that everything is a fixed state. I'd like to think that here, in this moment, when I embrace her forever.